This is the old elevator designed by Dendy Packaging to be able to be used in the food industry, where it can be very easily stripped down and all the internal parts cleaned and inspected. What I'll show you here is basically a breakdown of how this is done. You'll see the elevator itself is on wheels, so it can be wheeled around and positioned for the cleaning down. The next stage is to lower the whole elevator. This is done by extending some front legs, making sure they are latched in position, and then pulling on the two front legs that are used to support the auger when it's in the lowered position. Once in the horizontal position, then it's simply a matter of removing each of the end plates. Because the tube rotates rather than the auger in the center of the spiral, there's no need for bearings or seals, and it's simply a case of taking off the end plates at the back and the front. There is a procedure that should be followed, and you can see it on the video here, where you don't remove the black holding screws at the end. You just loosen them off, because there is a sealing plate at that end, and it is much easier once the nose wheel is positioned to give the auger shaft a bit of a shove down the middle. That allows the flange at the other end to dislodge from its seal. This is the end where all the product is, so that we don't want gaskets and things, so we have a ultra high density polyethylene flange there with a spigot that locks in. Once this plate's removed, then it's simply a matter of taking the plate off the other end and sliding the auger out. There are no bearings, there's no seals, no nothing. The auger will just pull straight out, can be then given a clean with a water blaster or whatever's needed, and the auger tube itself can be pulled apart even further if required. There are triclover clamps at either end to remove the discharge and the inlet side of the tube, or it can be just cleaned out as it is, because it's there's nothing in there, it's just a straight tube. Once the spiral's been cleaned and the tube's been cleaned, to put it back together, it's just a simple job of sliding the spiral back down inside the tube, then putting the top end cap on, and it needs to have its pin inserted to stop the spiral rotating. That is then inserted on, and the center clamp and the two black hand wheels put in position. You don't really need to tighten the center shaft up yet until we get the other end on. It's basically in position, and it's a case of slide the rear cap on, and you'll notice it's put on, but then you give it an extra little push just at the end to just locate that spigot in its place. That allows for a good seal, so you don't get any product leaking out. And then the two small hand wheels just to secure the flange plate, and then the centre handle, and that just will put a little bit of tension on the centre auger spiral. It doesn't rotate, but just keeps it in place. And that's all that's needed. There's no drive to reconnect or anything like that. It's just a case of just double check the hand wheels on the top of the auger and then lift it back up into position. The gas struts do most of the work when you're putting it back up. This is just a shot now so you can see the inlets on the auger, and just loading some material in the auger getting ready to run. So the whole thing can be pulled apart and cleaned, put back together in probably about 10 minutes, and that would include giving it a clean with a water blaster. You can see just, although it's not running fast here, it's eating away at the material. This particular one is fitted with a VSD, so we can increase the speed to suit what the requirements. Okay, thank you very much for watching the video.